Hear ye the words of the Lord! Awake, ye heathens!
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most terrifying, twisted, and/or disturbing deaths in the horror genre. Some spoilers ahead for the following films.
Come on!
Number 30, Tina, A Nightmare on Elm Street. In this scene, Tina makes one of the more common mistakes in horror films. She investigates something in her dream despite the possible dangers ahead.
Please, God.
This is God.
As the viewer, you're probably thinking that she should go back inside and lock the door. The tension is palpable as you fear the worst. In a haunting image, Freddy appears with his signature blades. It's even more frightening knowing that she can't run away. In the real world, the character writhes around in bed before being slashed and bloodied. The shot of her going up the wall is even more horrifying. Once again, A Nightmare on Elm Street makes you worry about ever going to sleep again.
Nancy said they'd had a fight.
It wasn't that serious.
Maybe you don't think murder is serious.
Number 29, Everyone in the Car, The Mist. Defying expectations, The Mist is a Stephen King adaptation that doesn't mind giving you a bummer ending. While the survivors contemplate their future, they realize that their chances seem slim. They decide to make a bold choice to avoid the enemy creatures. It's one thing for these characters to die this way, but the eventual reveal makes it all the more heartbreaking. A tense moment leads David to realize that he should have waited longer.
Come on! Come on! Come on!
Not only does the hero have to deal with his actions, he has to live on knowing that he made an irreversible mistake, leaving the protagonist shattered. The conclusion asks deep questions before scaring the audience with real-world implications. Number 28, Brandon, Megan. Some bullies think they can get away with anything. In this case, Brandon doesn't know what Megan's reaction will be. The frightening doll grabs the kid's ear before making him run.
Let go!
You need to learn some manners, Brandon. You know what happens to bad boys that don't mind their manners? They grow up to be bad men.
Stalking him through the trees, the robot causes Brandon to freak out and fall down a hill. He then ends up in the way of an oncoming car. It's a sudden and disturbing scene that reminds you of the enemy's true power. Even with everything he had done to Katie, his death still feels a bit cruel. It also comes with the perpetual fears of large vehicles and homicidal machines.
Obviously, what happened is a terrible, terrible tragedy. But just know that that boy is in a better place now.
Number 27, Seth Brundle, The Fly. In this remake, filmmaker David Cronenberg goes the extra mile to show you what a human fly could be. The hero, Seth Brundle, becomes crossed with an insect and suffers the consequences. His deformed self crumbles until it's hard to watch. Not only is he creepy on his own, he also receives a brutal send-off. The only person who understands him ends up putting him down. Armed with a gun, she does so knowing that things won't get any better for the scientist.
I can't.
It's a multi-layered and grisly scene that makes you wonder what you'd do in the same situation. With unbelievable makeup, this movie goes to extreme lengths to show you scary images. Number 26, The Elders, Midsommar. Even in the daylight, Ari Aster proves that he can make a scary movie. The main crew visits a Swedish commune where odd rituals take a violent turn. Jumping from a cliff, the village elders put their bodies on the line for tradition. It's a shocking moment that foreshadows the rest of the trip. Not only do they fall from great heights, they can be finished off by other means too. It's a distressing and harrowing surprise that makes you anxious for the rest of the film. If you don't like heights, this scene will be even worse for you. Number 25, Neil Howey, the Wicker Man. Through many twists and turns, Sergeant Neil Howey finds himself the victim of a pagan cult. They end up trapping him and putting him inside the titular structure.
No! No!
Having been rendered helpless, the hero can only suffer as he's burned alive. It's a distressing scene that depicts a cruel punishment. Not only that, the slow-burning fire takes its time before consuming the structure.
I'm not one!
We can't imagine that there are many worse ways to go out. It's even worse knowing that the locals think highly of the ceremony. With the witnesses celebrating, this decidedly evil death comes with some powerful imagery. Number 24, Keith, Barbarian. Underneath an Airbnb, Keith disappears into the maze-like basement.
Keith! Come up here, Keith!
He then re-emerges after Tess finds him in a tunnel. While he might be safe for a moment, the main villain has other plans. Only a small amount of light picks up the horror behind the two characters. Ready to take charge, the mother grabs the man's head and slams it in gruesome fashion. This only makes the audience more unsettled in a cramped and darkened space. With so many mysteries left unsolved, this twist might be too much for some people to watch.
What?
Someone bit me.
Okay, we need to go. We need to get out of here. We need to get out of here.
No.
This all leads to a cliffhanger, leaving you in a state of abject terror.
Tess, we have to come this way! Someone's down!
Stop.
I'm not going back!
Number 23, The Guards, The Silence of the Lambs. Waiting for the perfect moment, Hannibal Lecter outsmarts his prison guards. He subdues both of them in a particularly violent way. One gets handcuffed while the villain bites the other's face. Lecter relishes in the kill, throwing a baton around like he's conducting an orchestra. The result brings about one of the film's better twists. Outsmarting the authorities, the evil doctor escapes their clutches by taking a new face as a disguise. Both disfigured bodies are left behind while the wanted man rides away in an ambulance.
Lecter's gone, Sarge.
Prisoner's missing.
Boyle's gun is gone, Sergeant.
Repeat, Lecter's missing and arm.
Not only is his breakout full of gross surprises, the murderer rides off to terrify more people.
I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner.
Number 22, Passengers, Ghost Ship. At the start of this horror movie, ship passengers enjoy music and dancing. This all changes when someone decides to adjust a metal cable. When the equipment breaks, it slices through the dance floor. It's a disgusting and bizarre image, leaving viewers stunned as they see the carnage. You might have to look away once you realize the movie doesn't hold back. It's such an awful way to die, but it also happens so quickly. Without much time to react, the victims suffer a terrible death at the hands of a razor-sharp obstacle. You might think twice about ever dancing on an ocean liner after this one. Number 21, Dick Hallorann, The Shining. When things go wrong at the Overlook Hotel, Dick Hallorann returns to investigate.
Anybody here?
The audience likely wants him to turn around and avoid the chaos. With Jack Torrance loose in the building, you worry for Hallorann as he walks into a trap. The character walks down a hallway before an intense jump scare. Torrance throws out his axe, taking care of the innocent man with a swift blow. The slow burn movie builds to a scary moment before taking care of another victim. Frightening in every sense, this eerie scene from The Shining lingers long after it's over.
Hey!
Number 20, JUP and The Spectators. Nope. Jordan Peele's third horror film contains his scariest death sequence yet, and that's saying something. JUP runs a theme park called Jupiter's Claim, and he hopes to exploit the alien for profit and fame. He puts on a show for dozens of visitors, who all hope to catch a glimpse of the predator.
So as I said, in just under an hour, the Star Lasso experience is gonna change you.
Well, they get a far more personal glimpse than they were expecting. The alien swoops down and devours everyone, and they are slowly digested alive. The sequence is horrendous, utilizing realistic screams of panic and claustrophobic cinematography to its advantage. Their remains are then poured over the Haywood house. It is an unforgettable visual ripped straight from a nightmare.
Oh, God. Something very bad is happening.
Number 19, The Nurse, The Exorcist 3. Coming nearly 20 years after the original, The Exorcist 3 is a worthy follow-up with one doozy of a jump scare.
Tell the press that I am the Gemini Lieutenant. Final warning.
In the movie's most famous sequence, viewers watch a nurse do her rounds in a hospital. It's a very domestic scene, and it lulls audiences into a false sense of peace and security. About the time we ask ourselves, why are we watching this? A cloaked figure appears from a locked door and chases the nurse off screen. It's a brilliantly staged scene, featuring a static camera and nearly a minute of silence before it suddenly zooms in with an awful screech. The contrast is pulled off amazingly well, and is sure to give viewers a chilling jolt of adrenaline. Number 18, Glenn Lance, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Johnny Depp made one heck of a movie debut, and he went out in a geyser of blood. Depp plays Glenn Lance, the boyfriend of protagonist Nancy Thompson.
The point is that everyone has a bad dream once in a while. It's no biggie.
Yeah, next time you have one, just tell yourself that's all it is, right where you're having it, you know? Once you do that, you wake right up. At least it works for me.
Glenn falls asleep watching TV and becomes another victim of Freddy Krueger, who warps reality itself and pulls Glenn into his own bed. What happens next we can't even show here, but it sure leaves one heck of a mess. The image of the blood geyser is unforgettable, and one of the most iconic in horror movie history. But what makes this death scene work so well is that it leaves a lot to the imagination. Where was Glenn taken? What did Freddy do to generate that obscene amount of blood? Maybe it's best that we don't know.
What the hell did that, Lieutenant? I don't know. What's the coroner got to say? He's in the jaw and puking since he saw it.
Number 17, Timothy Young, Saw 3. It's really saying something that in the dozens of gruesome deaths that this series is known for, this is the one that has us turning our heads in disgust.
A man whose life also changed the day your son died. That day he made a terrible mistake.
Timothy Young hit and killed Dylan while driving drunk and was targeted by Jigsaw in response. He's placed in the rack, a malicious device that slowly twists his limbs. Actor Umpo Kuaho does a fantastic job conveying the unimaginable pain that Timothy is going through, and those snapping sounds are enough to make anyone wince. Fantastic acting mixes with vulgar sound design and a depraved imagination to create one of the scariest horror movie deaths of all time. Number 16, Beth OBrien, The Descent. This claustrophobic horror movie from Neil Marshall concerns Sarah Carter, a woman mourning the loss of her husband and daughter.
Oh, come here. I mean, look at you. Everything's gonna be fine. Better. It's gonna be great.
To help get her mind off the tragedy, Sarah goes spelunking with her friends, including Beth OBrien. The group is accosted by a band of bloodthirsty creatures inside the cave, and when Beth accidentally scares Juno, she is struck in the neck with a pickaxe. Juno flees in a panic, but the grievously injured Beth is later found by Sarah, who euthanizes her with a rock. It's an extremely difficult scene to watch, with Beth bloody and weakened and begging Sarah to end her life. Both the performances and the makeup are top-notch, conveying a palpable sense of panic.
Sarah.
Number 15, Jack Goodman, An American Werewolf in London. Who knew that John Landis of Animal House could direct one of the scariest movies of the 80s? An American Werewolf in London starts with Jack and David being hunted on the Yorkshire moors.
It's moving. It's circling us.
After a false jump scare gets the audience on edge, Jack is attacked and brutally mauled by the werewolf.
Where are we going? I don't know. I'll tell you when we get there. Okay, because... Oh! You really scared me, you shithead. You gonna help me up or what?
What makes the scene so horrifying is its realism. Jack's blood-curdling screams are full of convincing pain and fear, and his body is completely torn to shreds, leaving his corpse a bloody mess. The scene plays on our primal fears of large and dangerous creatures, and it's arguably one of the scariest animal attack scenes, supernatural or otherwise, in movie history. Number 14, The Highway Pileup, Final Destination 2. An entire generation of people grew up fearing logging trucks, and it's all thanks to this movie.
What? There's gonna be a huge accident. We're all gonna die, I just saw it.
Each Final Destination begins with a scene of carnage, and this one involves a highway pileup. A large log falls off the truck and slams into a police car, killing State Trooper Thomas Burke instantly. All hell then breaks loose, with people getting crushed by motorcycles, run over by transport trucks, and blown up in cinematic explosions. What makes this scene work so well are not the gruesome visuals, although those certainly help, but the relative realism. This scene is just exaggerating a very real fear into cinematic language.
There's gonna be a huge pileup. I saw it. There were bodies everywhere. There were logs. I saw it. It just happened.
Number 13, Frank Cotton, Hellraiser. With a title like Hellraiser, you know you're getting into some pretty gnarly territory. We just didn't initially know how gnarly.
Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
Frank Cotton is a hedonist who meets his end at the hands of the Cenobites. They attack him with chains, all of which pierce themselves into his skin and, well, it's not pretty, let's just say that. Props have to be given to the makeup department here. The visuals of Frank's demise are absolutely grotesque, and they're not ones to leave the mind anytime soon. In fact, this death scene is an all-time horror classic, known far and wide for its terrible brutality.
I'm going to live and you're going to help me, yes?
Yes. They'll never find us. Not in the whole wide world.
Number 12, Katie Embry, The Ring. Crafting a memorable opening scene is an art form, and The Ring has one of the all-time best. It follows Katie and Becca, two teenage girls who gossip about a spooky urban legend.
Your phone rings. Someone knows you've watched it. And what they say is, you will die in 7 days.
Turns out it's not such a legend after all. Katie has already watched the tape and is subsequently killed by an unseen force. The entire scene is a masterful bit of tension building. We, along with the characters, slowly begin to realize that the legend is real and that these girls are in incredible danger. And by keeping the death off screen, it allows our wicked imaginations to flourish. That is, until we see the aftermath in a jump scare edit for the ages.
I saw her face.
Number 11, Keith Jennings, The Omen. It doesn't get any better than 70s horror. Not only were these films constantly breaking new ground, they also still hold up incredibly well to this day.
It's not a child. How can he know that? Maybe he's wrong. It's insane. I won't have anything to do with murdering a little boy. He's not responsible. I won't do it.
While attempting to retrieve a pair of discarded daggers, Keith is decapitated by a pane of glass, and his head spirals in the air before landing by his feet. The suddenness of the death, the gore, and the eerie music combine to make this one of the most memorable death scenes in cinema. At the time, this was one of the most violent things ever seen in a mainstream Hollywood film, and it helped pave the way for a wider acceptance of violence and gore. Number 10, Casey Becker, Scream.
Why do you want to know my name?
I want to know who I'm looking at.
Scream helped revitalize the slasher, and this scene in particular was a major reason for the renewed interest. The opening of the movie famously sees Drew Barrymore's Casey Becker taunted by a mysterious and creepy caller.
Some kind of joke?
More of a game, really. handle that? Blondie.
The calls begin rather playfully before spiraling into depravity and horror as Casey's boyfriend is murdered, and Casey becomes the subject of malicious taunts.
Oh, God! I wouldn't do that if I were you.
She's then stabbed to death and hung from a tree for her parents to see. The progression of the phone calls, the sense of isolation and hopelessness that the scene conveys, and the violence of the murder all combine to create one of the most memorable opening sequences in horror movie history. Number 9. Kirk, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Hello? Is anybody home?
Casey's death might have reinvigorated the slasher genre, but Kirk's death arguably started it. After entering a creepy house, Kirk is suddenly taken out by Leatherface in one of the most surprising and scariest deaths in horror. Leatherface scares both Kirk and the audience by coming out of nowhere, and the sheer brutality of the hit and Kirk's twitching body leaves you reeling. The scene ends with Leatherface slamming the door, serving as an ominous exclamation point to the horror we just witnessed. It's both shocking and shockingly realistic, and it helped set the grim and violent tone for one of the most controversial movies ever made. Number 8. Dr. Copper, The Thing. While underappreciated in its day, The Thing is now rightfully regarded as a classic, and it's all thanks to astonishingly creative scenes like this.
Not breathing! One time, Doc. Get him in here. And bring the others.
Copper is the resident doctor, and it's up to him to treat the dying Norris. Unfortunately for him, Norris has recently been assimilated by the Thing. During the medical procedure, Norris's stomach suddenly opens up, becomes a giant mouth with sharp teeth, and chomps down on Copper's arms. Copper quickly dies of blood loss, and the other characters, not to mention the viewers, are left in a completely flabbergasted state of mind. When it comes to the greatest scenes in horror cinema, it's hard not to think about the man-eating stomach. Number 7. Charlie Graham, Hereditary. Ari Aster's film gets a lot of love within the horror community, both for its frightening bits of horror and its heavy themes regarding depression and grief.
My mom died a week ago, so I'm just here for trying it. I have a lot of resistance to things like this.
Both are encapsulated in the death of Charlie Graham. Charlie goes into anaphylactic shock and leans her head out the car window to get some air, only to slam into the telephone pole. The shocking death is completely unexpected, and the reactionary performance from Alex Wolff is nothing short of superb. As if watching him in denial isn't painful enough, viewers are then treated to the unspeakable aftermath and the pained shrieks of Charlie's grieving mother.
I just want to die!
It is one of the most memorable death scenes of the modern era thanks to some stellar acting and creative editing. Number 6. Judith Meyers, Halloween. We watch from the perspective of an unknown assailant as he stalks 2 teenagers from outside the house.
We are alone, aren't we?
Michael's around someplace.
We're then forced to witness the brutal murder of the woman through the eyes of her killer, making us feel complicit in her death, almost as if we're the ones carrying out this horrible display of violence. The movie then goes in a completely unexpected direction when the killer is revealed to be the 6-year-old brother of the victim. The shot of the emotionless Michael standing amidst his shocked and horrified parents is now an iconic piece of horror imagery. It showed us that psychopaths can be anywhere and be anyone.
Michael?
Number 5. Georgie Denbro, It.
Hiya, Georgie.
Now this is how you open a horror movie. While this scene was one of the miniseries most famous, the 2017 film turned the horror up to 11. Pennywise is made much more animalistic as he gleefully toys with Georgie, staring at him with violent hunger in his eyes and drool on his chin. It's immediately clear that something isn't right, aside from there being a clown in the sewer. And then he proceeds to bite Georgie's arm off and drag him into the sewer as the young boy attempts to crawl away, crying for help sans arm. It's a terrific and terrifying establishment of the brutality of Pennywise. Number 4. Heather, The Blair Witch Project.
I'm scared to close my eyes. I'm scared to open them.
Love it or hate it, there is no denying that this film has one stunner of an ending. Heather and Mike are separated while investigating a creepy as all hell house in the middle of the woods.
Judge.
Heather eventually finds Mike facing a wall before she's attacked from behind by an unseen force. The events leading up to the death are scary enough, like the abandoned house and Josh's far-off cries, but it's the images of Mike in the corner and Heather dropping the camera that really stick in our minds. It's a bleak ending, and its refusal to answer questions makes it all the more unsettling. It leaves you and your imagination to fill in the blanks. Number 3. Chrissy Watkins, Jaws.
What's your name again?
Chrissy!
Where are we going?
Swimming!
Chrissy's death is arguably the best opening scene in horror movie history. Susan Bacalini's acting is simply superb, as she successfully sells every last scream, gasp, and plead. Steven Spielberg also made a fantastic decision in never showing us the shark. We watch in sheer horror as this woman is dragged around by an unseen entity, again allowing our imaginations to run wild. The scene also ends on a spectacular note, as the horrifying music abruptly ends as Chrissy is dragged under mid-scream, leaving us with the seemingly peaceful and calming sounds of the ocean. We knew better though, and it made us never want to go swimming again. Number 2. Marian Crane, Psycho. Alfred Hitchcock certainly knew how to craft a scene. Marian's death is perhaps the most famous death scene in movie history, and it helped to usher in a new era of violence in cinema. The violence was unlike anything seen in film at the time, and the piercing music and frantic editing maximized the effectiveness of the horror. It bombards the viewer from every sense and angle, and it makes us feel as if we're being attacked ourselves. While Halloween put us in the mind of a killer, Psycho puts us in the mind of the killed. And it's one of the most horrifying things you could possibly imagine. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Kane, Alien.
What's the matter? The food ain't that bad, baby.
You choking?
What's wrong?
And with this one scene, sci-fi horror was changed forever. In it, Kane gives birth to an alien, and it's one of cinema's most disgusting and scariest moments. The way the scene progresses from jovial dinner to unimaginable nightmare is genius, and the effects of the alien bursting out of John Hurt's chest are still effectively revolting today. The fast-paced editing and genuine shock of the actors help place us in the surreal moment, while the practical effects make it feel oh so very real. It's now rightfully regarded as one of the most memorable movie scenes of all time, and arguably the scariest. Did we forget another horrifying movie death? Let us know in the comments below.
God, it's already healed in the wrong position. Turn off the light!